All right, so welcome everyone to our December 2019 Fireside Chat. I know it's a little short notice today getting the meeting out, so thank you for those of you who are able to join us. We want to just give everyone an opportunity, going through the holiday season and getting ready for the holiday season. I know a lot of times it can feel really overwhelming to get everything done and taken care of and making sure that you've got all your loose ends tied up before you can, relax and rest easy for the holidays. So we wanted to give everyone an opportunity to just ask any questions and that sort of thing. So if you've got some projects that you're working on or some things that are hanging you up, or maybe just some things you want to learn how to do over the holidays, I wanted to give everyone an opportunity to ask me those types of questions and for us to have those conversations before we went into the holidays as opposed to afterwards. So I do have a couple of topics for you today, but they're going to be really brief. And then after that, we're just going to open up the lines, if you will, and just see what kind of questions you guys have for me. So it is a smaller group today, so I hope that doesn't maybe encourage you to not be quite so shy with me out there. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, this time is for you. So let's go ahead and get started. So I'll go ahead and start sharing my screen. What I wanted to look at first of all today, again, we're still in the midst of budget season, right? So I wanted to take a look at this budget preparation and assessment setup action item. For those of you that deal with this action item, just kind of walk through, again, the purpose of this action item and some things, maybe just some important things to know. Okay, so for those of you that are managers and that are dealing with setting up these budgets, you'll go into the association or the all action items page for an association to create this budget preparation action item. And this first step of the action item, this board review step, is designed to assign this action item to your board members in their portal. So that means that your board members, when they go to log in to their owner's portal, they'll be able to see that they have this budget preparation action item in board review, and they'll be able to see any notes that you've left. So for those of you that do have your boards logging into the portal and approving invoices, dealing with ARC requests, different types of action items, this would be a really good way for you to facilitate that conversation in an electronic way by pushing that to the portal. Now, with this board review step, you don't necessarily have to go in and assign these to the board. I just want to make sure all of you know this is where you could go in and take a budget that's maybe unapproved and put it in front of the board for board review in a very electronic way. And the benefits of doing it this way, as opposed to sending an email out, is that you've got that recorded time and date stamp in the system of when you sent that email notification to your board members. You can obviously go in and see whether or not they've received those messages and opened them and that sort of thing. So there's definitely value there. But then you're also getting the ability to, again, let your board members have a public conversation about that budget if you want to do that. Now, if you don't want to send those to board review and you just, maybe you've already got that board approved or ratified budget there, you can skip the process to go down to budget approved, ratified if you want. Now, what we're looking for, and really the trigger here, once you do get that final budget approved, you want to take that budget and you want to select this fifth step it here, and then grab your attachments for your budget. Okay, so it's really important here at this step to make sure that you're actually grabbing a copy of the budget that you want to post to the documents when you step it here, because that's going to automatically post that document to this budgets folder in whatever association you have selected. But it's very important to make sure you guys are grabbing those budgets when you're stepping to that final budget approved step. A couple other steps that I just wanted to walk you guys through and then see if you guys had any questions about. Once you guys do step to final budgets approved, that's going to advance to send a notification to the accountant and the budget supervisor, and then that's going to go over to AR so they can get that assessment set up. We do have some steps built in here to kind of go back and forth between AR and the manager on, like, do I need additional information about the budget? Hey, the billing's generated. Hey, the billing, once the billing's generated, it's approved, and those types of things. But let's stop here for a second. For those of you that have already started using this action item, do you guys have any questions? All right, Trickster, see you, bud. Do you guys have any questions for me on how this action item works? If you guys run into any snags on it while you've been using it so far? Let's go ahead and stop and ask that question real quick.
This is Kellyanne. If it's all right, budget supervisor is Aggie, and she's on there so she can do the management fees. If you're trying to reach me, you would, and you're just sending a message, you would want to send a message to AR assessment.
Yeah, thank you, Kellyanne. So yeah, just to clarify for everyone, accountant, that's obviously going to be whoever your accountant is for that association. Budget supervisor, as Kellyanne said, is Aggie, and then AR assessments is Kellyanne. So again, if you do have any questions, send those messages through the action item, and then depending on who you want to get that message to, if you want to send it to Kellyanne, go to AR assessments. If you wanted to go to Aggie, you've got that budget supervisor role there. Yeah, anything else to add on that, Kellyanne, while we're at that point?
No, not right now.
Okay. All right. Any other questions or comments or concerns from anyone else on this budget preparation action item? I wanted to make sure you guys had an opportunity to talk about that. Okay. All right. If not, we'll go on to the next topic here. Another topic, just to reiterate from our last fireside chat, I just want to make sure everyone's aware when we're talking about setting up board members. So we're going to kind of transition here a little bit. When we're talking about setting up board members, and let's jump into Presidential Valley here, I do want to make sure everyone's aware of what our different roles are doing for us. So I see that there are still a few of you that have board members set up with the role of board all access. And I just need to make sure that you guys are setting up your board members with the role of board, right? You shouldn't be using that board all access. I can't really think of any scenarios, and AJ, correct me if I'm wrong out there, but when you're setting up your board members, please make sure that you're setting them up as board. Board all access doesn't give them board plus additional securities. Those are two different roles. So when you're sending messages to board in our system, they're not going to board all access. They're going to board. You need to make sure our board members are set up as board. And then again, if you have a board member who's also going in and approving invoices, a board member who's also going in and approving ARC requests, you want to make sure that your board member has the role of board in addition to the role of board invoice approver or that ARC chair, ARC committee role. Okay, so I just wanted to reiterate those points and then see if you guys had any questions on setting up board members, any issues with or questions on what boards can see. And really, especially coming from the perspective of those of you that still have annual meetings left, those annual meetings are a really great opportunity to, if you have the ability during those meetings, pull up a computer, walk your boards through the board portal so that way they understand what features and access that's available to them through that portal. I find that a lot of board members don't realize all the really cool tools and features that are available at their fingertips just because maybe they're not getting that training from their manager. So great opportunity this time of year to walk them through and just kind of reiterate what they can do in the portal. So with that being said, do you guys have any questions for me on setting up board members, any issues with what boards can see or not see, or any other questions? Let's see, what would cause board members not being able to see financials? That's a great question, Sue. So let's take a look at that. When we're talking about board members, whether or not they can access financials.
We don't touch that. That's like the fee schedule. We don't.
Wait, I can hear Julie in the background there. If you guys wouldn't mind muting real quick. Yeah, so to answer your question there, Sue, about what cause board members being able to see financials. First of all, it's going to be whether or not that board member is actually set up with the role of board. So Sue, if you have a board member and they're set up with some role other than board, they're not going to be able to see that folder, okay? So if you've got a board member, jump in, look at their role, make sure they actually have the role of board, not board all access or any of those other roles. And then the second thing that we want to do is we want to go to the actual folder that you have your financials posted, and first of all, confirm that your financials are actually there for them to see, right? And then confirm that that folder is set to the right role security. So Sue, if you have an example, I'd be more than glad to jump in and look to see maybe we can do some quick problem solving. If you do have board members that aren't able to see their financials, I'd be more than glad to look at that if you want to give me an association or an example there.
Madison Townhomes.
Madison Townhomes.
At Hamlin.
Madison. There we go.
And Cindy, my board member, Cindy Hatfield, is the one that can't see them.
All right, so you've got financials there.
Okay.
Let's look at your securities real quick. So that's set to boards only. Let's go to the higher level securities here. That's set to boards only, so that's good. And that's set to boards only. And then what did you say the name was? That board member?
It's Cindy.
Yeah, so Cindy should be able to see those financials. let's dig into that a little bit more. When she logs into her owner's portal, where is she going to look for them? Is she going to documents and to that folder, or is she going somewhere else maybe?
That I don't know. I did not ask her. She just said that she was not able to see financials and wanted to know why. So I will have to find out exactly how she's going in.
Yeah, let's do this real quick. So let's go log in as Cindy, and we can just go double check. So that way, when you get on the phone with her, when you get that email out, you can know what she's going to be looking at when she logs in. So let's see, we got Cindy Hatfield here. So let's go to homeowners and logins, and let's find Miss Hatfield. Okay. There's login. Mimic that. All right, so she definitely has the board role set up. We can see she's got all these board pages. Let's go to documents. There's financial board, 2019, October, and there's the financials. So that's where she's going to go to look to find them. So it might just be that she's looking in the wrong place.
If she looks under board action items, is there anything there, or is that, and that may be where she's trying to find them?
Yeah, so board action items is only going to show her action items that are currently assigned to her. So for example, earlier, if you remember, we were talking about that budget prep action item. If you created that budget prep action item for Madison and you put it in board review, then that action item would populate in her owner's portal, right? So she would see, hey, I've got a budget preparation action item in board review. So she would see them then, right? But once they're actually posted, they're not going to be visible as a action item because there's nothing really actionable for the board there. They're already posted, right? It's not anything we need them to do. So they need,
okay.
I would imagine that's probably the confusion. She's probably, you're right, looking at it there instead of going to the direct or the documents to find them.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. That was a great question. I appreciate that, Sue. Any other questions for me on board stuff, just portals in general? No? Okay. All right, well, let's just jump to just general stuff. What questions do you guys have for me? Is there anything I can help you out with? We've got a couple days before Christmas here. Are there any things that are maybe holding you up or anything that you're curious about before we go into the Christmas holiday? Anything at all?
Not today.
No one has anything for me today?
So one thing maybe I would throw out there while we're talking about the board portal, a common misconception is a board member can see the approve and decline button in one section, but can't see it in another. And often more than not, it's because the board member is looking at items in the open section. If you want to go to the board action items page, BD, right where you're at, or any invoices or any of them.
Yeah.
If you guys notice there underneath Madison at Hamlin, there's a My Items dot, a Open dot, and a Close dot. The difference between My Items and Open are action items that are currently open in the system, but are in a different step that is not requiring an approval or a denial or any kind of task from your board member. And so My Items will show those items that do need an approval or do need action taken by that board member. So I hear a lot of times board members are like, oh, I'm looking at an invoice or I'm looking at an ARC application and I don't see the orange button to approve or decline it. More than likely, that's because they're looking at items in the open column as opposed to the My Items dot, if you will.
Yeah, that's a great point, AJ. Really, if a board member is looking at any action item in the portal, if they don't see that little hamburger menu there, to be able to approve or decline, that lets you know that that action item is not assigned to that board member. So yeah, that's a great point, AJ. All of these pages are really just going to be filtered by, do I want to see the things that are assigned to me versus just all of the open items versus the things that are previously closed. Yeah, that's a great point.
So, BD, I hate to interrupt, but so does that mean that when an invoice goes into the system and it's sitting, waiting for my approval, the board member will see it, although they won't be able to approve it or anything? It will just be awaiting approval,
Hey,
correct?
Brad, let me call you back. I'm in a meeting.
Exactly.
Okay,
Yeah. So for example, right now, Sue, if we look at Cindy's login and we go to the invoices page, she can see that there are 3 open invoices for that association, and they're all in this manager either, or no, it looks like we've got 2 in manager declined and 1 in manager complete. So she can see, once they've been coded to the association, what status the open invoices are in. So we can see that legal bill for McCabe Trotter, that refund, and then that one that was declined there.
Yeah, I had board members upset because, like the one that says manager complete data entry, they thought that was approved and got a little upset with me. But you just have to explain to them that that's not, you haven't seen it yet. You haven't done anything with it when it's in that status.
Right. Yeah, and all the invoices are going to come to the manager before they go to the board. Pretty common question, right? Board members like, hey, what's the deal with this invoice? The manager goes to approve them, so that way you can make sure it's got the right GL. So the idea there is we really just want the board to go in and say approve or decline, right? We don't want them to have to think about what GL and all that sort of thing. So that's why we have it go through our manager first. So yeah, and that is not an interruption at all. So I very much appreciate your feedback. With that being said, have you had any other questions from board members on using the portal or invoices or anything else like that? Because I imagine if you're getting those questions, you're probably not the only one, Sue,
Yeah, for the most part, they've figured it out. Every once in a while, they can't see the hamburger, but I think we solved that. I had them as board all access, so
okay,
we figured that out.
Awesome.
This is Kellyanne. I was looking at the agenda, and I didn't know if you were still going over the setting up committees for the managers. It's on the agenda.
Yeah, no, I mean, as far as setting up committees, I kind of have gone over it a little bit, and it's more just like open-ended, like you guys have questions on setting up boards and committees. I mean, as far as setting up committees, I'd be more than glad to walk through real quick. Now, one thing about setting up committees, you can set up, board members with these different roles for like welcome committee and waterfront committee and all these different committees. But you'll notice when you go to the directory on the portal for those committees, we're not listing what the committee is. So really at this point, there isn't too much value like publicly in setting up all of those different committees, unless it's just for your own like personal tracking mechanism, because that's not visible, right? So if you have a board member that says, hey, I want to be listed as on the landscaping committee on the portal, that's not something that we're currently doing. It is something that we're looking to add. But if you go in and set up a board member with landscaping committee, that's not something that your homeowners are going to see, oh, Tina's on the landscaping committee, because we're only showing the title there at this point. So when you're going in and setting up committees, that is notational, and you can go in and set up people on like advisory committee or amenity committee. But that really at this point is just internal for your guys' own tracking purposes. Okay.
I have a question on the committees. I have an ARC committee that's having a real hard time logging in. I've just started having them request, go in and request a new login, because it doesn't matter what I do, they don't seem to be able to log in.
Okay.
And in the ARC roles, do the committee members get when we're stepping an ARC and we've put it in for review, does that only go to the chair, or does that also go to the committee members?
It goes to the chair and the committee. So
Okay,
let's start with that question, and then we'll go to the login next. But I'm going to make
sorry.
sure. No, that's fine. They're good questions. I just want to make sure I don't forget to address that question. So let's look at ARCs first. If you step to the notify ARC committee step, or I should say when you step to the notify ARC committee step, that is notifying anyone that has the committee role and anyone that has the chair role, right? That's then advancing to notify the homeowner, and then it's going to review. If you just step straight to ARC review, that is not sending a notification to anyone, right? That's not sending an email. So when you're ready to pass that on to the committee for review, make sure you're stepping it here and not straight to ARC review. Does that make sense to everyone?
Yes, and it actually answers why some of them weren't going through.
Yep. So make sure you step here. And what that's going to do is that's going to automatically email the committee and the chair. Then it's going to let the homeowner know, hey, we're on it. And then it's going to advance to review, all in the same step, if you will. They just advance like through those three things. And then back to your question about the logins. Really, when you have the situations where your board member is having a hard time logging in, or they're having issues and that sort of thing, and now AJ and Jessica, as far as best practices, definitely correct me if I'm speaking out of turn here, but I generally recommend just going in and hitting this little reset password link for that board member, because that's sending them an email with a new password, so they could just copy and paste that and then go ahead and log in. So that way you don't have to monkey around with setting a password for them and that sort of thing. So hitting that reset password automatically sends them an email. It regenerates a new password for them. It resets it, and then it sends them that email. So that's really the easiest way of dealing with it. But issues that I've seen with board members not being able to log in is typing out their email address incorrectly. I mean, that's really the most common thing that I see, because really all they're entering in is their email address and then whatever password.
And how long does that reset, if we send them the reset password, how long is that good for?
Forever.
Because some of them may need a prompt to go in, I've reset your password, please check your email for it.
Yeah, so that's really what that does, right? So when you click reset password, that's sending them an email, and that resets the password permanently, right? So if you hit that reset password, for example, right now, if Cindy was like, hey, BD, hey, Sue, I can't get into my account. What's the deal here? I'd say, all right, Cindy, give me just a moment. I'm going to go ahead and reset your password. You should be seeing an email come through anytime now with your new password. Go ahead and use that new password, get logged in, and then just update your password once you get logged in. That's really the easiest way of going. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, totally. And does that make sense to anyone else? Is anyone else having issues with their board members or committee members getting logged in? If not, and then Andrea, as far as setting up an adjudicatory panel committee, that'd be a great question for Jessica. I mean, it's definitely something that you can do. I just can't speak to what CAMS's ideas for like the types of committees they want set up and controls around that. So I'd hate to tell you something that went against what we're trying to do with the committee setup. But yeah, it's definitely something that can be done. So I hope that answers your question, Andrea. And if not, let me know. Okay, cool. All right. Any other questions for me today on anything else at all? And all right, Andrea, it looks like Jessica said that's cool. So let's just go look real quick and see if that's a role that already exists. Because if it's not, just go ahead and create it for you real quick. Yeah, there's an adjudicatory committee already set up. Will that work, Andrea, or do we need to add panel there? Perfect, cool. Yeah, so you're good to go. So all you'll do is you'll just select that login for your board member, select adjudicatory committee, whatever that type is that needs to be your start and your end date if you need one, and then hit update. You'll be set. And again, just to reiterate, guys, that is currently for internal purposes only. So you can set, Andrea, if she goes in and sets up someone on the adjudicatory committee, Andrea is going to be able to see everyone on that committee, but that is not something that we're currently posting to the portal yet. So it is.
Yeah.
That
I would reiterate that, Andrea, just so you're aware there, that's totally purely notational on the CAMS end.
Yeah.
So your board members or committee members, they are not going to see that they're the adjudicatory committee.
Correct. Now they'll see that they are a committee member, right? They'll see themselves listed here. They're just not going to see which committee they're on yet. So, yeah, good question. What other questions do you guys have for me today? Yeah, that is something that we are building out as an enhancement, Andrew.
Andrea, I just want to throw this out there as well. If you have a committee that is really pushing for visual nomination on the portal, just get with me, send me a ticket. We can set up a time and discuss some other options that are out there. But again, that would be to suffice any kind of visual, need that they need to have on the portal for nomination.
All right, what other questions do you guys have for me today? All right, any other questions for me before we wrap up today?
I can't see who's underneath the Santa hat on your shirt.
That's me, man. It's the snowman.
Oh, it's a snowman. All right, all right. Nice.
'Tis the season for tacky sweaters, am I right?
Yes, sir.
Thanks, BD, for your
It's
time, and thanks
blizzarding
everyone
here
for
as
your time as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, guys, everybody have a happy holiday.
For sure. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for joining us
Thanks.
today.
We'll see y'all in the new year.
Bye.
Bye.
I got like 2 inches of snow right now.
Wow.
Get out.
Yeah, it's coming down pretty good.